It's been around 43 years since the very first version of Pac-Man blessed arcades with its cherry-chomping presence and brought joy and entertainment to the masses. Now a huge success and a name that even your own grandmother probably knows. Let's take a look into the past and talk about 5 things that you most likely don't know about our favorite spherical little yellow glutton. Pac-Man was the brainchild of a Japanese man named Toru Iwatani, who along with a 9-man team developed an arcade game that they hoped would bring more women and children into the arcades. Iwatani sought to solve a problem that he thought that arcades were too much of a boys' game, a sausage fiesta, too dirty and smelly. His goal with Pac-Man was to bring in more female gamers with the hopes that he could clean up and brighten the environment. In order to accomplish this, he designed the game with dessert foods in mind, both because his wife really loved her sweet treats and because it allowed him to design the game using so many bright and cheerful colors. It was supposed to be a much different experience than many other games of the time that mostly featured either sports or war. Upon its initial release in Japan, the game was actually called Pac-Man, with the words puck puck roughly translating into something like munch munch in English, which well supported his food-like design. It wasn't until Midway Games began to bring the game over to the US arcades around 5 months later that they decided to change the name to Pac-Man. This was mostly done to avoid the game being vandalized, as they thought that it would be too easy for kids to change the P in puck to an F, and they believed that the children of the United States were immature hooligans, which is actually probably not far from being true, let's be honest. In the original Pac-Man game, the ghosts were named Akabe, Pinky, Aosuke, and Gazuka, who were supposed to all be the color red, because the head of Namco thought that the players would confuse the ghosts as Pac-Man's allies. However, Iwatani went to war with the president of Namco because he wanted the ghosts to be different colors, and to accomplish this, he sent a questionnaire out to the game testers asking their preferences. The votes were unanimous for better color representation in Pac-Man and convinced the president to change his mind. When the game came to America, the ghosts were given new names. They were Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. When playing Pac-Man, most people think that the ghost's goal is just to pursue and catch the player, but that is actually not the case. Only the red ghost Blinky actively chases the player. The other 3 ghosts have different tasks. Pinky the pink ghost always tries to put itself in front of the player, and Inky the blue ghost similarly tries to position itself in a different fixed spot depending on the position of the player, while the orange ghost Clyde is designed to just move in random directions, bringing the chaos. This was meant to make the game far more challenging and fun, and avoid the ghost just mindlessly following the player throughout the maze. Although today we may see Pac-Man as a massive success, when it originally released in Japan, it had somewhat of a middling experience, and was generally overshadowed by other far more successful releases from Midway. When the game was ported to the US though, 5 months later, and given a pretty significant makeover with a new name and a brand new case and box art, it hit the market with a far larger bang. Quickly, it became one of Midway and Namco's largest titles and put them on the map in the gaming space, even going so far as to become something of a mascot for the company. Sadly though, even with all the success of the game, Iwatani was only ever paid the standard fee, which at the time was only a couple $100s. Anyways guys, there are a ton of facts out there circling around Pac-Man and the franchise. What are some of your little known facts? I would love to hear from you, and I want to thank you guys for watching.